Afternoon, everybody. Hopefully, you had a very inspiring day up to so far. I think for this discussion, it would be great if people would be coming more closer to us. It makes it throwing the mic later on slightly more easier for me. So I will invite you, especially upstairs, to come sit over here. Um, Today or now, there's going to be a very, very interesting talk, something that we need to talk more about in our industry, for our industry, to create change. And that's what Sasha and Julia want to accomplish today. So give a hand for Sasha and Julia.
Thank you. I'm Julia. This is Sasha. I'm from KeokeN Interactive, and Sasha is from Paladin Studios. Thanks everyone for being here. We're going to do a talk split in two. So you're going to hear me talk for 10 minutes and then Sasha. First of all,
we're starting off great. Next slide.
next slide. Next slide.
Maybe if I can get in there. Yeah.
Okay, works. We can do. I'm Julia, as I said. Why am I here to talk about this very important topic about diversity and inclusion? I have been connecting students, especially to tech and startup companies since 2016, even before I moved here to the Netherlands. And we have done a very interesting thing with KeokeN, how we made our company visible to everyone, to students especially. And that helped us to connect to potential hires even before they were thinking about applying at us. I'm going to take it over to Sasha.
Yeah, and I'm Sasha, Paladin Studios. I've been with Paladin since 2021, when some of you might remember my face from winning the Dutch Game Award for Inclusion. I won that award for my thesis on inclusive hiring practices, and I've been putting that to use at Paladin ever since. So I've been hiring for them for 2 years, made a lot of changes, and we see some great results. So today I want to dive into some of the practical things in that hiring process. We do a lot of candidate-driven hiring, putting out a vacancy, attracting candidates, and opening up the door to as many people as should want to work in games and should want to work with us. Today we're going to cover 2 parts of the hiring process from different perspectives. The hiring process goes much farther than than seeing a vacancy, applying, and then getting hired. People need to find your company, need to feel related to your company, wanting to apply. Then the actual vacancy, the actual invite you provide for people to come work with you. Then there's the application, the interviews, and the offer and onboarding stage. It's a whole wide process. Today we're only going to cover the 2 first parts, and it's just a couple of really niche practical tips. There's so much that comes to this topic when it comes to hiring. We want to give you a glance over of things you could work on within your company to invite as many people to work with you as possible. So, on to you, Julia.
Shall we quickly try it again? I don't know what happened. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to create visibility and awareness for your company, especially if it comes to including diverse people in it. KeokeN has always started out with a very transparent company. Koen and Paul in the first 2 rows, they remember the days where they created Q&As, day of a developer videos, and they were always very open about creating an inclusive community. Back in the day, that created a lot of visibility that KeokeN is actually a game development company that's not only making games, but also having fun making games. And that is very important because we have noticed that usually a talent first looks into open positions for a company that they're already familiar with. So here in the Netherlands, for example, I think roughly every student, I would say, want to work at Guerrilla and looks at this. So if your company doesn't exist on the internet, basically no one knows about it. I started working here during the COVID winter. That's the perfect meme. As I said, I already connected students to tech and to startup companies, so I was very familiar on how a startup company can present itself online in a very nice way. And Alina started, I think, roughly a year after me, and she is an amazing woman who is knows everything about marketing, has a lot of passion behind that because she's also a streamer herself. So we had a very big problem because our game was only announced, I think, in spring 2022. That means that before that, what do we do for marketing? We cannot market an unannounced game. So we thought about, we're just going to show the life at KeokeN again. We're just going to have a little bit of fun with the studio, with the people, and we're going to show our amazing team what drives them, what creates the whole game, who creates the whole game, to make them be relatable for new people. We did a whole lot of different video ideas, sometimes very serious ideas like vlogging when we go to events, also having fun at the studio where, I don't know, Daniel, our IT guy, is just like very crazy because the IT doesn't, or the internet doesn't work, and Buzz is just there jamming. We saw that this shows our relatability, because everyone is always very anxious about events and also excited about these events, and everyone can relate to when the internet is off in the office. That's just a shit thing, but no one really shows that. Another thing that we did to not only show our fun and silly side, but also show that we really understand the industry, is to do these kind of video ideas where we have developers react to speedruns. It's crazy, all the ways that gamers can break your game. And also commentary for the announcement. I think we did it recently with the Gamescom announcement, where we just had our game designer and our animator sit down and just talk about how exciting is the announcement, what does the studio want to accomplish with that. That shows that we have industry knowledge, we have people working here that really understand the industry and are passionate about it. And last of all, I think this is my biggest thing that I really love what we're doing, is that we show the team. We don't make any difference if it's just the senior team that we interview, but we also interview our interns, because everyone has kind of like a different way how they got into the industry nowadays. And it just helps to hear from someone that is already working at a company how they got in. Maybe they have the same way that they got into the industry as you, and that's just like, hey, they did it, I can also do it. Also very fun is just where our game devs guess the video games. I just recently learned that I'm old because I knew Monkey Island and the interns didn't. But that shows that, like all of the colleagues that we have, what drives them, what's their passion in the industry, and that is very, very important to have as a company, to just show who's working with you. All of these videos had nothing to do with selling our actual game or even selling the announcement or anything, but selling our studio as a fun, desirable place to work with, because we had to market ourselves to new people. And that's also started with that we reached out early to the people, because you will hear later from Sacha, they have a very different approach to hiring people. We are looking for the social fit, and we are doing that with reaching out very early in the process. So we go to events like these, we go to showcases from schools around the Netherlands to low-key get to know the future talent, to just like feel out who's just in the education right now, who is maybe looking for an internship in a year, do they fit in? That is, these kind of events are perfect for that. We also network heavily doing these industry and school events, because we want to reach out to everyone. And especially for school events, it helps to have the actual developers there and to talk to the students, because they can also get a feel of like, who can I see myself working with? And it's very important to take colleagues to these events and also ask them to maybe collect a few interesting names that they already know. What we also did here today is a new thing that us two basically came up, because we saw that a lot of people don't get proper feedback on their portfolios, or they only get the feedback when they're in the process of getting interviewed, which is a super stressful situation to be in. So what I would suggest is also to go to your company and create a non-hiring environment where students can basically, or not only students, but also the new talents, can basically meet the team, get feedback from them, get to know them without the expectation of getting hired, because that, especially for someone breaking into the industry, that's so hard to do. And what I also want to suggest is to reach out to minority communities. Sasha and me, we are both part of Women in Games ambassadors there. But there are so many more communities like KeokeN and Women in Games International. They have a big list of job-seeking people where you can be like, okay, they're looking for a new job. It fits perfectly. We can do that. So with all of this, in essence, what we do with KeokeN is we showcase our colleagues, our diverse colleagues, and their skills as role models, basically. And we build a relationship to the future talent that may want to apply with us in the future, early in their process. So we are already getting the KeokeN name stuck in their head. And that is very different from what Sasha and Paladin Studios are doing. They are pros in hiring.
Yeah, so where Julia described the approach for a good setup for recruiting and headhunting, we do a lot more candidate-driven hiring, or as I like to call it, human-centered hiring. Not that recruiting isn't, but from our perspective. Paladin's way of approaching hiring is putting out a vacancy, an open invitation for you to apply, to see if you would like to work with the company, and that enthusiasm goes both ways. So yeah, like I said, vacancy texts, they're an open invitation to come work with you. And it really is a tool you can use to open the door to as many people as possible. People read things differently, interpret things differently. We all experience things differently. So take that into account when you're writing a text. What are you actually looking for? What is it that you're seeking? Get down to the essence, force yourself and your team to talk about that, to collaborate on that, and to get a feel for why it is important to get more perspectives on the team, what it adds to your designing process. So I'll dive a little bit deeper into what we changed in our vacancy texts over the last 2 years that we've really seen results from. I want to zoom in on 3 main elements in our vacancy texts. I'm completely skipping the soft skills because that's one of the most important things, but I think you should just prioritize that and get into that yourself. So on the more hard skill end of things, these are the 3 topics I want to cover today: the responsibilities, requirements, and nice to haves in a vacancy. For your responsibilities, this is the invite to paint a picture of the role, to invite people to see, okay, so if I get into the team, maybe not necessarily naming the project, but this is what I will be working on, this is the kind of team I will be settling into, painting a picture of what working at Paladin is like and where they will land. Requirements. This is where we made the biggest changes in terms of opening the door to more people. We've chosen to cap our requirements at a 5-bullet max. We did this because people read things differently, as I stated. And research has shown that when men read a vacancy text, and this is all generalized, right? But there's a sense of truth to it. It's research. When men read a vacancy and they feel like they can meet 30% of the requirements, they're like, let's do it. I can grow into the rest. Let's just do it, apply, see if I fit with a company. Women tend to read things drastically differently and feel like they need to amend to 90% of the requirements in the list before they feel comfortable to apply. To minimize that percentage, we wanted to keep the list short and make things more concise, describe behavior over qualities, because you're looking for a certain type of behavior in your new hire. You can, let's get into that. Why you should change up your requirements and the way you describe those is you're looking for personality. You want to reach out to as many people as possible. You want people to feel comfortable applying with you. And you're also setting expectations. How you're going to do that? Like I said, describing behavior over qualities and prioritize what is absolutely essential. Because we have the nice to haves for the rest of the things that would be nice to have, but are also interchangeable. How do you describe behavior over qualities? A very simple example is that you want someone to be able to take responsibility, self-govern projects. It has a very different tone to it than saying we want someone to be autonomous, because that leaves so much room for assumptions, the discussion, confusion. So being concise on what you actually want makes a big difference. It also goes for saying things like, we want 5 years of experience. Someone could have sat in their chair looking at the ceiling for 5 years. You're looking for someone with a certain type of behavior after working for 5 years. So these are all things, mindset things we've changed to open the door to more people. Coming back to nice to haves, like I said, still be concise, same kind of rules as with the requirements, but they're also interchangeable. So if someone doesn't meet those exact requirements, but they have another cool skill they can bring to the table, perfect. Then we get to tone of voice and intent. These are things you see often talked about when it comes to vacancy texts, masculine words, dominant text. I think for Paladin, one of the most prime examples is we are the Knights of the Round Table. And we would open a vacancy text with, we're looking for a new knight to join a round table, which we mean well. We're not looking for only men, but the word knight has so many masculine connotations to it, people get assumptions with that word. So to take those things out of the equation and to neutralize your text, so to say, makes it more comfortable, either consciously or unconsciously, for a lot of people. And there are a lot of tools you can use to make that happen. And also, talk with the people in your hiring process. We've gotten a lot of feedback on the way we changed our vacancy texts. People that applied a year ago and now are applying again. They feel much more comfortable. They look at the faces on our website, the way we are transparent about our process, and it makes a huge difference in how comfortable they feel in that first interview once they've applied. Then the intent. This kind of summarizes the process you need to walk through with your team. You need to make sure what your priorities are. What's your intent with the people? Are you looking for a new perspective to add to your team, or are you looking just for the quick fix, adding someone on the team? The first one that meets the hard skills, get them in. And that in that intent also comes the things that Julia mentioned, presenting yourself. How do you show yourself to potential candidates? We have a list of all the people working in our company per discipline, so people can see, okay, I'm applying as a designer. Would I feel comfortable in that team? Is that a team I feel I can work with regardless if I've met them or not? And transparency in your process. We lay out the whole process once people apply. We're open. I'm open about that in the screening process. And if things need to be made to measure, because some people just need a little bit of extra attention, then we do so. So to summarize things, I guess for both of us as well, every part of the hiring process adds to an inviting environment and to attracting more people that wouldn't maybe traditionally be attracted to your company. We've just highlighted finding your company and that vacancy text, but even in the applying process, the way you structure your interviews, write scorecards, and treat people in your process all the way up to onboarding and people actually getting through their first contract with you. There's so much you can do to make them feel welcome. Ask for feedback. With diversity and inclusion, I feel like this is one of the most important things you can do. Ask for feedback on how people feel, if they actually feel safe, and try not to get defensive. Create a safe environment to do so, essentially. And awareness is where it starts. Look for those differences and acknowledge they're there. Talk with people with different perspectives, maybe even up within your own company. It all starts with awareness, and then you can come to new solutions together, so to say. So yeah, I think that's all from us.
Yes.
Any questions?
We have time for questions, right?
Yes, we have 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
Who
Good timing.
has a question?
That's even better.
We were incredibly clear.
Well, I have a question. First of all, thank you for such, let's say, concrete examples of how you can actually do this. So this is really clear, and well, not that I'm in any position to do such a thing, but it gives you something to latch onto. Can you, and this is a question for Julia, can you explain something about what kind of reactions you got from, let's say the potential hires that were attracted to your videos, etc. Can you Yeah, tell us something about that.
We actually got a lot of feedback from interns that we had over the last year or so, I think, that they found us first through our LinkedIn videos. We do the same silly videos on LinkedIn, just a little bit more professional. But that they were actually very impressed that we're so open and so like transparent with the whole company life and everything. And I want to believe that's the switching point where they were like, yeah, I'm gonna apply everywhere. Oh no, I'm gonna apply at KeokeN because I see the videos, I see the fun that they are having in the studio. I want to be part of that community, basically. It's always a little bit shady if you say like, yeah, we're a family, we're a community here. I think our family stops at 5, but that doesn't mean that we're still like passionate people that can joke around, and I think that shows in our videos and that attracts people, especially nowadays in this industry. Yeah.
And it's all about feeling welcome.
To attract people, definitely, I think LinkedIn. Before that, it was Twitter, but that's also dying down now. We're also toying around with TikTok. We have another company, Hunchback Music, it's a little bit Paul's baby. He does a lot of, stupid things on TikTok and all of the trends. I think that also helps, but that always depends a little bit on how comfortable you as a company are in presenting yourself. If you can joke about yourself, take TikTok or something. If you want to be a little bit more serious, then definitely take more to LinkedIn.
Okay, hold on. I have a cube for this.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I'm going. I'm going first here, and then maybe if you time.
Dankjewel. All right. I wanted to ask if you, like, as a company, participate in any Dutch-specific, like DEY initiatives, or do you celebrate like specific days, and do you see that sort of as part of the hiring process?
You first, or what do you want?
It's a hard question to ask because we do Dutch things, but we're also a very international company, not only with international people working in the office, but also international people abroad. So that's for me, that's personally a hard question to answer. I think we don't make a big deal out of it, but we do a little bit, yeah.
I feel like for Paladin, we're not necessarily going to D&I events or seeking that out, but we try to bring that to every event we go to. So like today as well with the portfolio reveal, we want to make sure people feel welcome, see if there's any new talent there that we want to scout and potentially get away from Nix's KeokeN in this case. Because we do see a lot of changes in the schools. We see a lot more diverse talents coming in there. So that's a chance we want to take. So we are very present at the schools, happy to get invited by Media College, for example. And we try to, at least I myself, try to be present at Women in Games gatherings. We have a Dutch group. We're connecting with a lot of HR managers within the industry now. So if you want to be a part of that, hit me up. So we're trying to share knowledge and share best practices with a lot of people and as many people as possible. But it is also a tricky thing because I've been a part of a couple of groups now that have kind of disbanded over time. So getting actual things done is hard. But I'm always down to set up the next new thing and see if we, with studios together, with shared knowledge, can change things structurally, not just within one studio, but within the industry.
Our time is up, I'm afraid. I'd like to thank Julia and Sasha, and give a hearty applause.
Thank you. That was quick. That was very quick.
And if you have more questions, feel free to walk up after the talk and just have a chat with us.
Yes, definitely.